extraction. Whew! Instant delete. Headshot regen, no problem. Excuse me. But you guys know the sheriff build from none other than yours truly. This is a striker eliminator. This is a headshot eliminator. I don't care what build they pull up with. This build can and will get the job done. Can I get up the rope? Damn. I know it's early, but give me a break. We had multiple players in here. I'm trying to showcase our new build, the sheriff. You guys just saw this thing, this thing. You guys just saw this thing stack up pretty well against that headshot regen. Again, not much of an issue. Um, I'm guessing the agent's gonna pull back up. I called an a minute here. I called an extraction in hopes that he'll pull up. Again, there was another agent here. Looks like they're at Western Extraction, so we're gonna head over there. You know, when I do these build videos, it wouldn't be a bad idea to drop a solo Manny in here. But every time we get a few kills, people disappear. New build, the sheriff. Gonna give you guys a little bit of gameplay, as per usual. And then we're gonna get in to these numbers. Build breakdown.
Chopper inbound. Extraction called.
Somebody here. So in the event that my exotic sheriff, oh, sheesh, and that was just bad timing. NPC, another player, and that's fine. That's gonna happen. I took his headshot regen off when double AR. That's cute. Oh man, and I'm telling you, this build cracks against those regen builds. It just chips armor, knocks it right on off. The guy that just shot me in the back, I think that was the second or third agent we down. I'm gonna do a little bit more sparring going out here, beating on the servers. But before we do that, before we go out here and continue beating on the servers, we're going to do something that we traditionally do, and that's talk about some of these numbers. Again, you guys saw this against a headshot regen build. You've seen this thing. Honestly speaking, I don't know what the first agent had on, but I do know that my second down was against an agent who had headshot regen. So let's get into some of these numbers. Why is the sheriff the new build? Why is this build so amazing? Why is it so awesome? Well, for me, S90 is my second favorite shotgun in the game. It used to be number one until I fell in love with that 870. If you know about my 870, if you've been on the other side of that 870, you understand why that's number one. However, we're going to show some love to my second favorite shotgun in the game, that being S90. Now, let's get into this build, man. Let's do it. So obviously, this is the new exotic weapon for our season finale. It's called the Sheriff. This thing is an S90, just like the weapon below it, the light glue. Triple God roll. It is at an expertise 30. So if you're on the other side of this thing, I reckon you will not like it. Again, triple God roll. Damage the targets on the bottom. This thing comes with a talent that gives you 35% weapon damage, 100% accuracy, and no damage drop off. Okay, so it does give us a side note saying these bonuses are built into the weapon's base stats. So this is not something that you will accumulate while using the weapon. It's already there. You understand? Our second weapon, this is the named S90. This is called the light glue. This is also triple god roll. And just to show you guys I'm not capping in my rapping, this is also an expertise 30. Now, if I didn't really F with the S90, there's no way this would be expertise 30. You understand? So both of my weapons here, this is an S90 build. It's designed to get up close, neutralize, strip armor. For those striker nerds, headshot regen nerds, this is a great counter for this. Amazing. You understand? And we'll get into the pros and cons in a moment in regards to the build. But let's keep rolling, okay? Our first piece of gear, and this is actually a newer a newer gear set that has been introduced into the game. This is called Concentrated Company. Now I'm using the Ninja Bike, which is going to give us a talent called Resourceful. We get a +1 um, for every brand bonus that we're using. So we don't need two pieces of Concentrated Company to get this 10% weapon damage. Okay, so we're using Ninja Bike, triple God roll. You guys know how I'm, I'm giving it up. This is Expertise 28. Okay, crit hit chance as our mod. So again, back to the Concentrated Company. Um, we only need one of these to get that 10% weapon damage, okay? And we actually have this thing rolled to crit hit chance with a crit hit damage mod on the bottom. Second piece of gear is a 0Fs. Badger's tough. You understand. This thing gives us perfectly unbreakable. You get 100% of your armor back if you're going up against NPCs. Obviously, that is reduced for PvP, but you do get a little additional um, armor for using this as opposed to just using something that would be on any other brand set, such as a Fenris, Sokolov, Providence, etc., etc. So, because we're using our Ninja Bike, we actually get the shotgun damage and we get the 5% total armor. Let's keep it moving. We're rocking one piece of Hunter's Fury. This is giving us the brand bonus for two Hunter's Fury, giving us that 15% shotgun damage. Let's go. We already talked about the Ninja Bikes, so I won't get into that. Um, this is our first and only piece of Negotiator's Dilemma. This is giving us 15% crit hit chance. A lot of you guys would have probably said, well, Don, why not run Seska? Well, we really don't need any hazard. You
Extraction vehicle
understand? So
almost
we're not running Yao, I'm sorry, Seska, because yeah, we could get the 10% weapon damage with the hazard. However, my CHC is a little low on this build, so incorporating negotiators and getting that 15% crit hit chance with a 12% crit hit damage rolled as an attribute is a solid piece, okay? This is our sixth and final piece. You guys are aware this is Fox's Prayers. You understand. This is an Expertise 26 triple god roll with crit hit damage rolled on the bottom. You understand. So you can kind of see where we're going with this. I mean, obviously these three pieces right here, you got 10%, you got 10%, and then you get a 15%. Okay, so we got 35% extra damage, shotgun damage here, right? 35%. On top of what we have in our skill tree, which is another 10%. 45%. 45% shotgun damage on top of what we're getting from our Fox's Prayers. You got the 8% damage to targets out of cover, combined with the 10% damage to targets out of cover. So we got 18% damage to targets out of cover. You understand? This is huge. This is going to strip armor. This is going to neutralize those striker headshot regen geeks. You guys are going to have a blast with this new build. I am trying to tell you. Now let's get into the numbers now that we've went over the pieces. I am using Quick Step. This is one of our newest additions. It's a pistol. Basically what this does, this gives you sport mode, increasing your movement speed to 20%. That's a keeper, especially in PvP. I actually use this for my hardcore character as well. I think Quick Step is probably, I hate to say it, unless you're using like a Regulus or a D50 build, this is like my favorite to use. It's just, and I think that rings true with a lot of us out here, okay? Let's get into these numbers here, man. 49% on a crit hit chance. Personally, I would like that number to be above 50%. We'll see what we can do in the future
Nearby
moving
agent
forward.
has become rogue.
Oh, rogue agents. All right, let me get in. Let me finish dropping this so I can get out here and get to testing my build here. So crit hit damage is 105, which is pretty solid for my crit chance to be at 49. Again, these are 8 pellets. So on average, four to five of those pellets are going to crit. Again, stripping that armor with no issue. Okay. The other stats, 40% accuracy, 10% stability. That's really nothing to, smirk at per se. Let's take a look at. So you see our armor here. We're at 1.6. It's a little low on the armor. 108 on health on kill. Nothing else really jumps out at you here. Skip, scroll back up. Let's take a look at our S90. Our S90 was actually able to achieve that 50% crit hit chance threshold because we were able to put in our own mods, which unfortunately we can't do for the exotics, but that's okay. So it looks like my S90, I named S90, is 54 in the CHC, 120% on the crit hit damage. Again, pretty solid. This thing hurts. So typically, when I'm fighting builds, especially anything that requires CQC, this is close distance. Anything within 15, 20 meters is, as you guys saw, the headshot region. He had no chance. He had no chance at all. Um, Now I've only been using this build
Helo almost
for
at
the
extraction.
last 2 days, um, and it is a lot of fun. As you guys know, the Dark Zone is plagued with headshot region and striker builds. This build is a great counter to those two meta builds. However, there are a few builds, and I say I'm getting into the pros and the cons. I'm not going to just throw this at you and say this build is going to neutralize. You will take losses, whether it's with striker, headshot region. However, those are the two builds that I feel this really shines. Um, but there's a counter. There's a counter to this build, like there's a counter to any other build. I'd say the weaknesses, and again, a lot of people, when they give you guys their builds, they make it seem like it's the best thing since sliced bread. They don't talk about the cons. They only want to talk about the pros, 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 pros. I'm going to give it to you straight. We got 16 loadouts for a reason. You don't put this on, keep it on, and go out here and fight any and every build because if you do, you might have a hard time. Okay, so this build would probably struggle against, I'd say, spotter builds, unit alloys that's designed for 20 to 30 meters and beyond. Obviously, because that our damage drop off is too significant once players engage you at that level. So if you find yourself using the sheriff, the new build, if you find yourself using this build and you're in a situation where you can't close the distance and you can't neutralize those targets, what I would highly recommend you to do is to swap your build. We've got 16 loadouts for a reason. Again, any shotgun build outside of 15, 20 meters is going to have significant damage drop off. That thing's not going to shine. So I've given you guys the pros, I've given you the cons. We talked about the numbers. We fought a headshot regen geek. Shout out to all you agents that was a part of this too. GG's to everybody. Again, I would like to go out here and beat on some more things. If you guys are interested, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a stream, just like we did for what was that? I think the Overlord shotgun. Oh, that stream was tough. If you guys really rock with your boy and you was there, you know I didn't enjoy that stream all too much. Not a big fan of the Overlord. However, I like S90, so I'm really feeling the sheriff. So tune in to our next stream. It'll probably be dropped either today, tomorrow. Not quite sure. Depends on how my time looks.
Nearby agent has
But I
gone
say
rogue.
this, man. If you guys aren't subbed, what are you doing? Drop a thumbs up. Support your boy. 2026, year 7, coming to an end. Dom hit you guys with yet another build video, man. You understand? You guys used to hear me say 50 plus builds, 50 plus builds. Well, that that number has now changed. We are now at 60 plus PvE and or PvP builds in this game. Let's go. Show some love to your boy, man. Smash those thumbs up. Sub if you're not. Until the next time, I will catch you guys next adventure. Yeah, Triple T Dom out. Bang.